room. So suppose you all 35, 40 people enter this room, then a phone is required to scan that you are entering this room. And we don't want to have chaos, so when this device accidentally doesn't have a connection, it still should be able to check in people that are entering the room. So,
with a QR code.
With a QR code. So that those people are, I hope, with a mobile device with the QR code on it, so we can scan mobile to mobile. But the older people, they just print their checking code, a QR code, and they just walk in and present their QR code. I'm going to enter this room. It's for the radiology people in the Netherlands. That's what we have designed this for. And when we started with this, we discovered that we wanted to use Ember data instead of just regular JSON objects. So we thought, okay, what can we do to, and we saw that you had like local storage adapter. Perhaps somebody here, anyone has used it before with Ember, the local storage adapter?
Yeah, I just wrote a little update.
And what we saw is, because we need a large amount of objects, the local storage, which requires 4 to 5 MB, is too minor for our application. So we wrote a new Ember add-on called localforage-adapter. And that's what we've made. And the lucky thing for us is it has actually more contributors to it. We have like now, it's recently brought, not to me, but we've started with it, and suddenly other people picked it up, and it gets promoted last week to Ember 2.0. And because we have quite some stars on it, we are actually one of the top add-ons with Ember.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for us, it's helping us a lot because we now have Ember data. We can also use the stuff you saw before with computed properties and stuff like that while you're offline. So when I press now Thursday, 10th of September, it's now picking up data from a remote data source, and this takes a while, but okay, it's like a reasonable amount of seconds, and you can now see the amount of people. This is an event that has been organized in the past, and you see now I've secured the names because I'm actually fetching a live source at this moment, so and I don't want to show you the names of the people that were actually checked in, but this is all local. If I no, I can't disable my Wi-Fi because then I'm able to screen any cast anymore. But if I disable my Wi-Fi, I'm still able to check in people. And when the device goes online, it synchronizes with the remote data source. So my message for you is, if you ever need a local or offline app, consider using the local forage adapter. And if something does not work for you, you can, of course, always send a PR. And I'm happy to merge it. But for us, this helped us a lot. It uses the usual Ember stuff together with offline data source, with offline features. So, are there any questions on this app? Yes?
Yeah, how do you, because of the local forage stores it locally?
Yes.
Yeah, then
Well,
break connection, how do you synchronize with the backend?
Yeah. Now, what we have done is, because we actually need 3 requests. That's not so many. So we have written our own, like, if you are from a backend programmer, you can see it as a repository pattern. So we have created a repository, a remote repository that has like 3 calls: fetch A, fetch B, fetch C, and then it uses push payload and push data into the local adapter. I know I've investigated, there is a Ember sync adapter which actually is able to use offline and online, but since it was at that stage it was so like 0.1, I've chosen not to use that.
But the push payload is like from the server to your local forage?
Yeah. It's comparable to that. So I've like three
There are
methods.
scan results, then how do you detect that you're on again and push it to the server?
Okay, so that's where Android comes in. Android can detect whether a device is online or offline. So when it's offline, it disables, it starts queuing things up, and when it detects it's online, then it starts processing the queue, and it's not really something extremely complex. It's just an array that you are filling with things, and for us it has worked till now pretty well actually.
But it
Even
doesn't
when you
do
close the
conflict
app
handling,
in
right?
your tunnel?
It doesn't do conflict handling. What we are now doing is also starting to use UUID. So that's for offline ID generation. So that's of course a pretty good method to have an ID that's generated on this device have synced with an ID that's on the server. But when still there are two devices that check in the same QR code, then the server has to decide what to do with it and make sure how to update the local device.
Yeah.
And we have written some methods for that. It's not pretty complicated. It's also not pretty well done. No, but it's for the case that we have, it's enough.
Cool.
And if the case becomes more complex, then we sure have to investigate how to bring it up to a more up to standards level. But for now, the conflict handling is pretty okay.
You might want to have a look at PouchDB.
Yeah, we considered that, but
Plug.
I thought that was going to come from Martin.
you're
We use it a lot.
It's
for this reason.
Yes, we use it in a company who uses it in a store where there are many products, and they walk away from the Wi-Fi and they just disconnect from the Wi-Fi, but they can still book everything and check everything, and when they come into the Wi-Fi, it all syncs back to the server.
Okay, but what I also had a look at PouchDB, not enough, I guess, but we have a MySQL database on the back end. How can we make sure that PouchDB and MySQL eventually become consistent in this matter?
Yeah, you can sync you probably need to have a CouchDB on the back end and sync that with your
MySQL.
MySQL.
So that's already been taken care of.
Yeah,
It's like, okay,
it's on the back end then.
you have a MySQL adapter for PouchDB or something like that?
We don't use it that way, but if you have SQL server like you said, you should sync it on the back end, I think.
Okay.
You probably need to write that.
I read something like that actually for PostgreSQL. You have to explicitly sync your CouchDB to Postgres and back again.
And you have to do you have to write code manually for that.
So
It's not.
You monitor for changes in your CouchDB and you monitor changes in your SQLDB and you synchronize it on the
Okay.
server, and then it synchronizes to the
Maybe
client.
good to indicate why they use Pouch or Couch.
I think that because we only save check-ins to our remote data source. It's just
Yeah, that's
one
simple.
call.
For you, it's
And
not really a
for
relevant
us,
case.
I think it's what we are doing is the best case. But if there's more to sync, then PouchDB comes.
MySQL has no syncing basically, and Couch does. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's an ill comparison.
No, okay, but CouchDB becomes interesting when you have lots of data to synchronize.
Yeah.
And since we have only one kind of.
Yeah, that is.
Anybody using relational Pouch?
I am.
Yes.
Well, I'm using the PouchDB Ember adapter, which uses relations. Pouch.
We use Ember Pouch.
With attachments?
No,
But yeah.
No?
not yet.
Then I
We've got a
something
request
for
from a
nothing.
customer.
Okay, so this was our how would you say that?
Show and tell.
Show and tell. So if anybody else, I know you guys want to show something.
Yeah,